Now, as we continue here on Showblitz here, with me, Charles Prodigy Richey here, also host of the MSDO podcast. Let's get ready to get into the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, the free agency period, which is begun right now. I mean, or was getting very close right now. The Steelers got quite of a list of unrestricted free agents, definitely coming up this year, as a matter of fact, as we look at it for the most part going to this year. For everything that has been going on. And for this year, it's to be Omar Khan's first year, which many people believe he's going to be measured going forward right now for the success of this team since following Kevin Colbert, who retired last year at the conclusion of the draft. Right now, as we look at, they have 18 unrestricted free agents right there too. As we look at it, more likely looking at this list right here. I mean, going into it, pretty much five starters coming up right here, basically, and definitely got some decisions to make. And as we looked at, Omar Khan said a week ago that not much changes in the draft process. Andy Weil in the scouting department will help set up the board for this year. Then Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, and Art Rooney decide on the picks. In regards to Omar Khan, he said he loves the way Mitch Trubisky worked with Kenny Pickett. Would like Trubisky to be around long term, including beyond next season, as reported by Teresa Varley. Steelers have signed linebacker Jameer Jones to a 1 year contract. Now, I mean, last year around this time, though, too, remember it happened on March 14th, was a signing of Mitch Trubisky right here, who came in basically, who signed initially. Let's see, let's pull him up right now. He signed a 2 year, I believe it was for like $14 million. Pulling it up right now, just a second here. But I mean, basically, they were still like up in the air though too. If they're going to be able to get their quarterback in the draft, which was able to fall for them at the 20th overall pick. It was a 2 year, $14.285 million contract, which included a 5.25 signing bonus, which was guaranteed, and an average annual salary of $7.1 million. And this year, Trubisky he'll be earning a base salary of $8 million while carrying a cap hit of 10.625 and a dead cap value 2.625 right now. Now, one of the main things is too. Now, it did not pan out as well as being a starter, but I mean, he was definitely a solid backup. I mean, this year, I mean, when you look at in games, they needed him to really be significant, especially when you had Kenny Pickett, who went down well with the concussion. So he came in and backup role against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, remember, I mean, for this season too, when you looked at everything, started 9 games right there. I mean, for the most part, when you look at like what he was, I mean, excuse me, he started 5 games. Excuse me, I was looking at the wrong season right there. Went 2-3 as a starter, and I think one of the most notable games that he came in for when Kenny Pickett got hurt back in week 6 versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They will win that game 20-18. He went 9-12, 144 yards, touchdown and interception. I mean, no interceptions. And only got sacked once for loss of 6 yards right there. And then his other win too was against the Carolina Panthers on the road right there. Now remember the Pittsburgh Steelers, who lost the Baltimore Ravens, they fell to 5-8 right there. They will go 6-8. I mean, this was against the Panthers team. That was not an easy win, to be honest, yeah. I mean, that was a team who still had a run at getting the division right there. The division was like almost up for grabs right there with the struggling Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. I mean, Bruce Arians going up in the front office, handing the reins over to Todd Bowles. Tom Brady, who came out of retirement earlier that season, And right there, but I mean, when you looked at it too, I mean, right there, I mean, Mitch Trubisky, I mean, he usually does good in backup role. I mean, on average, he passed for under 200 yards a season. But when you looked at everything though, too, I mean, I think one of the things that stood out for Omar Khan too, because he's also interested in like keeping Mason Rudolph a bit longer, who is also an unrestricted free agent. I mean, who seemed to kind of decline big time ever since starting in 2019 up until that Thursday night fiasco versus Myles Garrett. But I mean, Omar Khan looked at the situation right there where you had Chase Daniel of the Chiefs right there, who came in for Patrick Mahomes, who suffered an ankle injury versus Jacksonville Jaguars in the divisional round. And for Omar Khan right there, he says, as you guys saw in the playoffs, it's important to have more than two quarterbacks available. Uh, he said we had a great relationship, good conversation with Mason, and the door's still open. And right now, I mean, Mason Rudolph, he had an average annual value of $5.08 million last season. But I gotta believe right now too. I mean, there's a lot of questions with this too. Now, I'm still a little skeptical right now. I mean, what Matt Cannon is going to do. I mean, in his third season as the offense coordinator. But I mean, at the same time, bottom line is, I mean, Kenny Pickett did seem to go bat for Matt Canada. He seemed to give him a vote of confidence, the support. And at the end of the day, he's still here right now with his team. So, and then Mike Tomlin, I mean, he's not a guy who's to make subtle changes during the season as far as like getting rid of offensive coaches. But I mean, the bottom line is too, like the biggest criticisms you could give of Mike Tomlin is to hire more smarter coaches on the offense. I mean, I think his other coaches are okay. Now, can there be a concern, like say on the defense side, is losing a guy like Brian Flores right now, who took, I believe, let's see, who won over right now, who's a defense coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, who's going to be 2 years removed from being the head coach. I mean, we'll see. I think he did a lot to restore the run game, but that's going to be the biggest thing right now. I mean, I'm a little skeptical to say the least right now, but I think the biggest thing is right now. I mean, if you're going to be going with this game plan right now you definitely have to be looking at the offense. Hopefully, you could get some better protection right now. Hopefully, have a much more healthier version of Najee Harris this year too, who could rebound from playing with that plate in his foot they had to deal with going into the season. They had, I think, back in training camp. But honestly, right now, I mean, I'm a little bit encouraged right now, the way things are. I mean, once again, too, I mean, if we look at everything where the Steelers line up in the draft right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, excuse me, they own the 17th overall pick in the first round, and then the 33rd pick in the second round, which could turn into an extra pick into the first round because the Miami Dolphins, who had to forfeit their pick due to the accusations by Brian Flores, they're supposed to be the 21st overall pick in this year's draft, but that's been forfeited. So that may turn into the 32nd pick instead of the 33rd. And then the second round, you got at 50, which should be 49th. Remember, this is due with Miami having the forfeit right there. And then right there. So you got at least like right now 4 picks within the top 100, which is pretty good right there. I mean, with that additional projected extra first round pick, that's where we're looking at. It seems to be in pretty good shape. Now, I mean, when we switch things up right now, what are the draft needs that the Steelers are going to be looking at right now? According to Tankathon, the Steelers are projected to be taking 2 defensive players out of their 5 top 100 picks, with defensive tackle Brian Bruzzi of Clemson, who is fourth as far as like defensive tackle rankings, and then of course cornerback Emmanuel Forbes, who is eighth in the quarterback of Mississippi State. Now, 3 defensive tackles, according to Walter Football, are expected to be uh, drafted within the first 2 rounds, with 7 going in the top 100 right now. And if you look at it too, I mean, for me, defensive tackle wise, because I'll be honest right now too. I mean, you gotta look at it this way right now. I mean, Cam Heyward, I mean, right now is towards the end of his run with the Steelers right now, and we're gonna see like what I mean. They gotta prepare for life without him coming up. I mean, this is not gonna be an easy year as far as like trying to get that, but he is in the last year of his deal right now. He'll be counting for a cap hit of $22.4 million this year. He signed his extension, remember, 3 years ago, back shortly before the start of the regular season, right there. And he's gonna be 35 this year. I mean, a very solid veteran leader right there. And I'm not gonna lie right now. I mean, you gotta believe the clock is ticking right now. It's gotta be an all-in year. Not sure if he's gonna be re-signed with the Steelers. Should he go someplace else, or would he even consider, dare I say, retiring after 13 seasons? We might be seeing the last hurrah of Cam Heyward this year when we look at it, and that's the thing right now. But I definitely tell you right now, I mean, you gotta look at it right now. I mean, with Kenny Pickett, I mean, everything that's draft. But let's go start with defensive tackles right now. If I was to select defensive tackle, I mean, one guy who I'd be looking at right now, I'd say Kalijah Cansey Pitt right there will be a good choice right there. He's projected to go within the first two rounds. But I mean, based on the Steelers' need, they're gonna probably need offense. But I tell you what, defensive tackle wise, right now, I mean, he is grade a 6.37 on that score, which is an eventual plus star right there. And according to some scouts here, I mean, look at Scott Farrell, who's talking to someone from the NFL Combine right now. Uh, he was projected to be a second round pick, but he had the fastest 4 yard dash from anyone at 208 pounds or more since 2003, who was a top five defensive tackle, super explosive, according to SiriusXM NFL insider Am Kaplan right there. So, in comparison to, I mean, he might be similar to a guy not too far off from like an Aaron Donald, who, which also, by the way, came out of Pitt. I mean, that'd be one guy to focus on because right now, when you look at like the offensive protection to be looking at for this year, more particularly with tackles right now, I mean, list is not all that encouraging right now. But I mean, you got five projected to go win the first round right there. And then you got at least uh nine win the top 100. And then as far as wide receivers go, you got four in the projected to go within at least the first two rounds, encouragingly the first round, 10 in the top 100. So if we're gonna do our mock draft right now, for me, with at least, I mean, the top four picks won the first 100. I mean, if we're gonna look at it right now, I mean, one guy who I probably look at right now, I mean, going into this, I probably go for the most part. Let's look at Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State, Big Ten, 6'3", 315 pounds right now, who played 3 seasons at OSU. He is graded at 6.39, also an eventual plus star right there when you look at it. I mean, I gotta believe, you need to have a legit left tackle. And the question is, I'm not sure if he plays left tackle or what side, but you need someone to give protection for your quarterbacks, more particularly with Kenny Pickett right now. He's gonna need all the protection they could get. Of course, you don't want to mess that up, but I gotta tell you what, right now, I mean, when you look at this grade right here by Paris Johnson right now, and the overall verdict on him. Let's take a look right now. Give me 1 second, folks. Sorry about this. I mean, I will definitely look for him. Yeah, so 6.39 grade right now, and the rundown on him, he is athletic tackle in need of additional technique work, but processing the traits, become a longtime star on the left side. He's still filling out his frame. He should get stronger. He's much better as a move blocker than men blocker, but he can bridge that gap with more coaching. He's loose and quick in pass protection, but will need to add core and strength to and get better with hands to prevent edge defenders bypassing his anchor. I would like to see the Steelers get him right there. He's versatility to play guard or tackle, rhythmic diagonal sides and pass sets, shuffles feet and rides rusher around the arc. Now, one of his weaknesses too, not much pop on contact, below average, securing the first block on cobble blocks, bends at the waist and lacks ideal leverage as a run blocker. But I tell you what, there's going to be one right there because the top tackle in this draft right now will be Pierre Skoronsky of Northwest. He is 6'4", 294 pounds. Got very good grade at 6.73, which is a year one starter right there. So I mean, you may hopefully he'll fall to them at 17, but we'll see. And then as far as like I'm gonna go for like the next pick, hopefully they'll go with receivers. I'm gonna side with Andrew Filipponi on this one because on his list for right now, he has got for the Steelers with at least the first three picks. You got tackle out of Northwest, like I just mentioned, Pierce Skoronsky. Then you got followed by wide receiver out of Pitt, and most recently out of USC. Hopefully, they can reunite with Kenny Pickett, excuse me, who played 5 seasons at the University of Pitt. Jordan Anderson, 6 feet, 175 pounds, grade 6.36, eventual plus star right here. Now, Jordan Anderson right there, inside and outside wideout with the speed and the agility to work confidently on all three levels of the field, but lacking the size and catch strength generally associated with high impact performers on the next level. But I mean, his biggest strengths, he possesses athleticism and speed to work anywhere on the football field. Early drive burst, regardless of route depth. Smart use of footwork defeats coverage leverage, and he can be a slippery runner after the catch. Weaknesses: only 2 touchdown catches over the last 7 games. Route timing can be disrupted by handsy corners and limited catch radius for off-target throws. That's rundown Jordan Answer. But the biggest key thing right now, too, why the Steelers probably look at right now, kind of like what the Bengals did with pairing up Joe Burrow. I mean, after he was drafted in 2020, the following year, reunited with his receiver Jamar Chase. So, I mean, the Steelers could be thinking about that. I mean, chemistry wise, kind of like what they did with Mason Rudolph and James Washington. Now, granted, I believe they got James Washington first before they got to Rudolph in the 2018 draft, but we'll wait and see on that one. So, yeah. And then Andrew Filipponi for the third pick. He's got inside linebacker of Iowa, Jack Campbell, who's great, 6.18, eventual plus starter. Jack Campbell, he played Division One basketball after helping the Cedar Falls High School squad win Iowa State titles as a junior and senior. But I mean, his strengths: big, long frame for the position, highly communicated with his teammates on the field, and he has a good feel for blocking schemes and a nose for the action. Uh, Weaknesses: plays conservatively on the second level perch. Initial diagnosis moves lack suddenness. But I'm gonna go right now. So for me, once again, for people keeping score, I'm gonna go with Paris Johnson out of Ohio State. Offensive tackle, he can play left. I believe he can play left tackle in this one. So I'm gonna take him with my first pick. Followed by a second pick, I'm gonna go at for the Pittsburgh Steelers with the 32nd or 33rd pick in the first or second round. I'm gonna go with Jordan Anderson of Pitt, and then also too, I'll be looking for my third pick right now too. Going into this because since you do got an additional second round pick, additional first or second round pick, I'm gonna go with Kalijah Cansey if he's available. Pitt, and that'll be their either their 49th or their 50th pick. I thought he would fall that far, but I mean that'd be my real. Maybe the other person you could consider right now will be next after that will be Michigan Mozzie Smith for the most part. Let's get a little verdict on him real quick. Who has a 6.34 grade right there. He's and the reason why I say him too, I mean, remember you got Tyson Alulu, who's an unrestricted free agent as well. I mean, he seems to be might be the physical and athletic player comparison for Smith, but more consistency for Smith is needed before he finds the Pro Bowl, as Poe did twice in his career. He has a rare combination of size and athleticism that he possesses. Very stout with his lower half, power of the punch, a lip blocker under his pads, able to slide, swim, and seize the gap. Weaknesses, hasn't made many plays behind the line of scrimmage. Slow reaction move gets him sealed, and he's unlikely to see many passing downs as a pro. But I mean, I would take a chance on him. I could see someone developing right here. You need to have a solid one right there. So I either go I'm gonna either go Kalijah Cansey, rolling the dice here, or Mozzie Smith, and that's for my first three picks right there as we look at it. And then for your fourth pick to look at it, haven't really got to a decision right there. But I mean, if you were to ask me, I mean, I would not mind looking at right now. Let's see as we look at it. I probably go with let's see. For me, I will go probably Christian Harris out of Alabama of SEC, who's got a 6.21 grade. No, excuse me. I'll probably go with Jack Campbell on the last one. Jack Campbell right now of Iowa right here. 6.18, who could be an eventual star right here. And for Jack Campbell, like I said, big long favorite for the position. Yeah, that's about it. But anyway, in general, right here too. So everything going on right there. So again, I'm gonna go for my first pick in the draft. I'm gonna go with Paris Johnson, followed by who's a tackle. Then I'm gonna go with my second round pick, or actually additional first, Jordan Anderson, formerly of Pitt and recently of USC. And then I am gonna go with for my next pick. I'm gonna go with Kalijah Cansey, and last but not least, Jack Campbell out of Iowa. And also, there's been talk right now too. Be really interesting right now too. Jalen Ramsey, former Super Bowl champion, with the Rams right now. Detroit Lions seem to be like the top shooter for Jalen right now. Now, remember, according to Aussie's 93.7 The Fan Bet Online, the Steelers are in contention to land Ramsey. They missed a playoffs year ago. The Rams did with an ugly 5-12 season with Sean McVay's first losing season as a head coach. Raiders, Lions, and Bengals are currently the front runners for Ramsey's services. Bears put the Steelers up there with the Vikings, Texans, and Patriots at plus 1,200. He's a six-time Pro Bowl and three-time All-Pro. He'll have a cap hit of 25.2 and 26.7 and $22.7 million over the next three seasons and will turn 29 this October. Would this be a guy you would take a chance on right now? Pipe dream wise, yes, but realistically, I have to say no. And I can only reflect to what Ed Bouchette said a year ago when it was in free agency period: get younger. And that's gonna be it for this edition here of Show Blitz with me, Charles Prodigy Richey, also host the Man of Steel podcast. Once again, you can follow me on social media on Twitter at Man of Steel CGR and on Instagram at Man of Steel Nation. So always leave it. Don't be trolling. Be rolling. Thank you for watching the Man of Steel podcast with your host, Charles Prodigy Richey, here on YouTube. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And for all the latest Man of Steel podcasts episodes, feel free to download them
on Mixcloud, Anchor.fm, and SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts.